Can we just do that vote again then? So this is the payments of 366, 140 and 65 pounds to Flying Colours, Chest Tomb Project and Azure Plumbing. Can I just have a show of hands on that one again, please? Thank you.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, our next item, matters of decision by the council. Children's climbing frame repair replacement pre-circulated update working group. Brian, do you want to take us through what our meeting?
Well, we had a meeting on Monday with a representative from Sutcliffe, and he made various comments. It was very, very helpful. First of all, I think we should look at the big climbing frame, which has got a bit of rust at the bottom of some of the stanchions. And he said we should look at the cost of that, first of all, just to see we're not going to spend a tremendous lot of money on that, and we haven't got enough for any under five stuff. If it doesn't cost very much, fine, then we can perhaps go ahead and have a look at this particular under five piece of apparatus, which we chose via this parent, by this grandmother, and one that he recommended, and he was very, very, very helpful, and he was going to give you some figures, Colin, I believe.
I haven't received them yet.
No. So we really can't do much until we get figures, but I thought, John, didn't you have a contact with a firm that were doing could do repairs on those stanchions?
Yes, that's the intention. I've got hold of Amesbury and Puddy, who do that sort of thing all the time in March. Sorry, in March, and they'll be coming this week, I hope, and I'll have a quote.
This week. Oh, right, good. So we wait for their response before we can take it any further, I think. Is that correct, Colin?
There's just one thing. We've also got a request out for a quotation from Paul Dixon. And of course, we already had a quote from GB Sports. So we've got a base on which to compare things. I think GB Sports will be they are very expensive. But we'll just see what happens when the other quotes come in.
So we can't do anything at the moment until we receive those.
Nigel, you
discuss at the next meeting, I presume.
Nigel, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say to bear in mind, I know we're getting quotes, and we've had quotes from two competent contractors, GB Sports being one of them. And that quote, I'm hoping, would be to make good the ground as well, because that's a bit more probably maybe out of the scope of a normal sort of like metal work welder, because that groundwork needs to have that soft material put back around the base. So we just need to bear that in mind, that it's a complete job, and we don't end up with something we didn't want.
Yeah, John's contractor that originally did the work, Nigel, will be able to patch it and repair it afterwards.
They've been contacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll just see what Sutcliffe and what our quotes come up with, and then we can decide what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution on hedge clearance. Owen, do you want to? Oh, sorry, Bob, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, it was just on the play equipment. I may have missed it somewhere in the emails, but have we been circulated what the proposed play equipment might be that would be looked at for the 5-year-olds, and also where it's proposed to put it?
No.
The quick answer to that is no, but I think we will circulate it when we get the quotes and when we get what because he's actually going to recommend something for youngsters, toddlers. So I think perhaps you'd allow us just to get the info, and then we can tell you where we thought we'd put it, and we can all take a decision on it. but as a group, we're not keeping any information from you. It's just that we haven't got a lot to give you at this moment, only what we've put in.
Yeah, the one that we looked at and were particularly favoured and by this villager does not need a proper safety surface, which means it's going to be cheaper. But that's all I can tell you really at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't need. Yeah, just to clarify that, Brian, it needs a surface, i.e., but not a surface.
Not a sort of concrete and rubber thing, no.
Yeah, it needs some matting. Yeah. So we'll come back to everybody when we get the information from Sutcliffe. Okay. Right. 5B, resolution on the hedge. Owen, do you want to take us?
You will recall at the last meeting on the 3rd of March, I was asked to write a letter to 23 Brent Street regarding their hedge, which was actually coming over the footway and causing some obstruction. Of course, you'll also know that I had a very upset reply from the owner of that property, not because he didn't agree with our concerns, but he'd been thinking about this problem for a long time and clearly was having financial issues and so on and so forth. So he got very upset, and in the event I got Jason Mayo to go and give a quote to do the work, and Jason came back and said that he reckoned it would probably cost in the region of £300. That was just really to bring the hedge back to a safe and level hedge. It wasn't in any way to do any removals of it. It was simply to bring it in line with highway, and in fact, it was actually what we were asking him to do. Effectively, bring it back to that level. And as I say, I sent you out an email, and I'd like to know what your views on it are. I can tell you that it wasn't the most comfortable conversation I've ever had with somebody, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'd like to know what people's views are on us spending £300 on this project to get this done. David, am I right in thinking that is David, we can go ahead and do this? It's a safety issue, can't we, on highways?
Yeah,
even though we're past the nesting stage. Yeah,
we're allowed to do it because of highway safety and visibility. There's a few things, but we wouldn't be allowed to remove it. But we're not discussing that anymore. So we're perfectly all right to do what we want.
I think
you guys.
Yeah, I think the important thing is, are we in this instance prepared to do something which will help somebody and also clear out a particular problem that is being faced? Brian, you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, but also I wonder if the village agent has been informed about.
She has.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And has she visited? Do you know?
Well, she can't visit at the moment. That's the problem. She's not allowed to.
No, of course not.
But she did say that she would make contact on the telephone.
Yeah. Good.
And as soon as she was able to, she would make a visit.
Fine. Thank you.
So she is definitely aware of it.
Colin, Malcolm.
Yes, Malcolm.
Don't we have a fund where we can help local residents with their hobbies and things like that? The things they participate in?
We have a charity account.
Yes, can we use that at all for this?
How much is in there, Owen?
It's for about £1,000, £1,100.
Is that including the Brent Knoll Reserve Fund money as well?
No, that's not including that. That's excluding that, I think.
Well, my proposal, to be honest, in these circumstances, because it's helping someone out, is to apportion money from our charity account, which we don't use very often, and in this circumstance, help somebody out. That's what we're here to do. And I would propose that we support this and get the hedge done and show that we can do something for people who are in need. Andy,
And I would second that.
Yes, absolutely.
Andy,
Whilst the vote is going on, my apologies for being slow. We will probably have to do this on a frequent basis, won't we?
But you don't know that, do you?
David, to what extent, once we've done this work, will we have to keep doing it?
I don't think if we do it now, we're not going to have to touch it for a couple of years, I wouldn't say, because it will be well clear of the footway. But I suppose we'll have to review the situation as time goes on. But I think the next few years won't be an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody wants to take it over and make that proposal, but I'd be happy to support it.
I will do that, Owen.
I'll propose.
Colin?
Okay, Malcolm, you'd like, and this money would come from our charity account?
Bob wants
Yes.
to say something, actually.
Sorry, Owen?
Bob wants to say something, I think.
Oh, sorry, I can't see you, Bob.
That's okay. All it was, Colin, was I think on this one, it is a highway safety thing. The reason we're getting involved is not just because it's an untidy hedge that someone wants to have cut. It is that it's over a walkway, which I think does give us justification to do it. And I think the suggestion of the charity account in this case works well, because originally those charities were set up to help people who were in financial difficulty in the parish. So I think this fits the bill potentially. So happy to support it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Let's take if you can show a hands or a shout from Cynthia or Malcolm, that would be great.
Yes.
Well done. That's
Can I just say something about the letter though? I think we have to be very mindful when we're writing letters out to people of who we're writing to, because this was a bit of a shock to me, I must admit, to get this response. And I think if we're going to write to somebody who we don't know who the owner is, in other words, it's an anonymous letter, effectively, I think we have to be very careful who we write to.
Andrea.
Yes, I think you have to be careful.
The road to see what house it was, and I would say that I probably lived the closest, number 4 to number 23. I have never seen him ever in my life in the 13 years I've lived in the village. So I wouldn't have even known that there was an elderly person in there. And I don't think that we did it with any kind of malice. And the highway issue was still there, whether they were 24, 84. Lesson learned was there, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their circumstances as to why their hedges are overgrowing on the highway. And yes, okay, we might have to be mindful, but still, one person's hedge could endanger a family's life, you know, on that road. And I feel that we were right to do what we did. And although, you know, we had a bit of a backlash in from it, there is something that we can do as a result of that. So I don't think we ought to beat ourselves up too badly about it. We did it with the best intentions. We didn't do it. We didn't do it in malice.
I agree. I just think we need to be mindful. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
like I said, I had no idea that there was such an elderly gentleman living there, and I have certainly never seen anybody at that property.
No. Bob, I think, wants to say something.
Yeah. Chairman, was only going to say I totally agree with what Andrew's just said. I think we did the right thing. I think the letter that Owen sent was a pleasant letter. It wasn't a harsh letter, and I don't know how else you'd make contact, because if you go and knock on someone's door, that could be seen as being intimidating them. I think the letter is the more friendly way of doing it, and we could have just simply notified highways and they would have gone in with an official letter. So I think the parish did the right thing and treated it as carefully as they could, and it's highlighted the problem. If we hadn't written, we wouldn't have known that he needed the help. So I don't think there's anything wrong that the parish did in the approach that the clerk took.
No. I agree.
I think in normal circumstances, this is where we could use the village agent,
Yeah, exactly.
which would make things a lot more pleasant, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, she'd probably have a background against not, you know, for elderly people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which would be quite helpful.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll take that on board then.
Thank you. Well done. Item C, update on the community shop. Bob, do you want to take us through this? Bob?
Yeah. I think the only update is that we met with the committee of the shop again to talk through where we were heading. I think all members were circulated the outcome of that meeting as to the roles and responsibilities that we saw potentially for the shop committee to try and get the further detail and information that's required to take the shop forward, and for us to look into options as to what we could do in terms of the building. We're collating that information, and we'll obviously bring that back to the parish council once we've got it. But I don't know if there's anything else, Colin, you wanted to add at that. That's the only update I would have thought, but Andy as well.
The only what we did, we gave them four things that we thought that they should be addressing, and one that we should be addressing. But I think the overall idea at the end of the day, because this is such a major project, that both parties, both the steering group and the subgroup, combine together then to make a formal, if you like, presentation to the parish council members, because it is a big and important project. So we've asked them to put, if you remember, we circulated all the bullet points that we were concerned about when we initially discussed the shop. And so I took out the ones that fell away because we weren't going with the existing shop, and outlined the major ones that you expressed interest at the time. So hopefully they will be addressed when they make their presentation to you. And so all we are asking at the moment is, can we still proceed with our discussions? Can we explore the financing of this project so that we can, if you like, get our particular finances in place? And then hopefully we have a joint presentation so you're properly aware of what we're discussing and what our proposals will be. And I think that really sums up where we are. Andy, you were on the meeting, and Owen, have you got anything to add?
I have nothing to add, except I think it's been, there's quite a lot of emotion involved in some of this. And I think the way that it's been steered to a very precise 5 action points has been extremely good. And I think we're approaching a point where we should land up with something concrete to bring back.
Yeah. So that's where we are. Hopefully you're all happy that we continue speaking to them and seeking some form of, if you like, plan or resolution. Okay. Is everybody happy with that?
Yes.
You could show me, signify, or whatever. Just gives us confidence that what we're doing is okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Malcolm. I think we've already addressed really the Zoom, haven't we, Owen? So, matters of report ready for our next meeting. I'll take it as I see you on the screen. Nigel, are there any matters you want to bring up in our April meeting?
No, nothing from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian?
Just, I wondered if you had any news about why the toilet bill was so high. Have you?
Did you not?
Electric.
Electric. We haven't quite flushed it out yet, Brian.
No,
In the toilet, I mean.
walk down with it.
Sorry?
Maybe because we released the code to change the timer on the lights. I don't know.
185 quid. Pitch dark, I say.
Okay, anything from you, Warwick, for the next meeting?
No, I'm okay, my friend.
Nothing from me, thank you.
John?
It's all new.
No.
In line.
David?
No, nothing, thank you.
Andrew? Andy?
Nope.
Bob?
Yeah, a couple of things quickly.
Oh,
Colin.
God.
I know. One was just on the toilet. I did suggest to Owen that potentially, don't forget in the winter there is that heater that is there to protect it from the frost, which isn't obviously on during the rest of the year, so that may well account for some of it. And the other thing was just to say I have had an update from Highways that they are hopeful that the 40-mile-an-hour limit on the A38 will be within the next couple of months. They're currently waiting for a lighting company that's got to put the lights on the signs that have got to go up to do their bit of the contract, but it should be happening relatively soon.
Oh, that's
Can
good.
I just say
Very
something? as well, Corin?
Yes, Owen, of course.
I've got just a few items on here which I just want to remind you that we will be raising in the next meeting. We've got the handyman project to consider. We've got the plumbing group. I'll start again. The plumbing quote from Azure Plumbing for the permanent job on the toilet block, because it does need some significant work done to it. We've got financial compliance for the year ending. We've got the annual parish meeting to discuss and statutory payments listing. So there's a lot of stuff in April that comes up with a normal sort of formalities. So it will be quite a full agenda actually.
Yeah, can I ask that Tony Hill's letter is put on there as well, so that we're monitoring?
Yeah, that is being addressed, some of that stuff actually.
Cynthia, I haven't asked you anything to bring up?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, and Malcolm?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, is that everybody? Forgive me if I've missed anyone.
That's everybody.
Okay, all right, so our next meeting then is the 7th of April, and we look forward to seeing you then. So stay safe.
Oh.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Be quiet.